This video is brought to you by America First Insight. Help support the growing conservative movement by becoming a member today. And if you want to support this channel, you can also use the code REAL when becoming a member. Thank you and enjoy the video. You know, I can't believe we're making one of these videos yet again, because it seems like every other day at this point, I'm kind of forced to make one of these videos going over these hysterical, just downright awful electoral takes by people like Robert Barnes and Richard Baris. People that I used to respect a year ago, they have gone off the rails completely. And let's be clear, it's not because they're saying Democrats going to win later this year. I think that's actually a reasonable take. Most people would agree, yeah, Democrats right now, they're probably the favorites to win the midterms. They're going to probably gain a House majority, maybe flip a couple Senate seats. But at the same time, there are people going around like Barnes and Baris saying insane stuff like this. How bad is it? Florida might go Democrat. Hold up. You're saying Florida is going to go Democrat, or I should say might go Democrat, because of a single poll from Palm Beach County. Yeah, not even statewide, from a single county, from one garbage pollster that's notoriously awful. And most of the time, understates Republican support significantly. Because of this one poll, Florida might go Democrat. Baris said the same thing right here. He is saying Florida is close, and anybody that disagrees with him, you're a clapping seal. What are we even doing here? Because, okay, even if a blue tsunami is building and they're correct about that, which I'm not even denying, that could happen. The Democrats could have a big year this year. I'm not even denying that. But at some point, we're reaching levels of hysteria and nonsense that should not even be possible. A quick reminder that but even before this, you had Robert Barnes saying that Democrats right now are not just in a best case scenario getting 53 seats in the Senate. As of now, in a likely scenario, are going to get 53 in the Senate. They're the clear favorites, not just get the 50-50, but get a clear majority in the Senate. And it could go as high as 55 Democrat seats. Yeah. Somehow, though, his recent take on Florida, and Baris's as well, it goes even lower than this. Because now, they're just saying, this is going to be the single biggest blue tsunami in history. Not just a normal blue wave or even a blue tsunami. We're talking about everything flipping Democrat, a D plus 15 generic ballot, all this other crazy stuff. Seriously, this is insane. And they're saying this because a single pollsters found this result in Palm Beach. Which, by the way, let me pull this up right here. This is Palm Beach County only. So not even statewide. And according to St. Pete, which for those that don't know, is a horrendous pollster, one of the worst out of Florida, they understate Republican support by big margins every year, and we'll get to that in a second also. But even if you ignore that, who it's from, look at the results. Byron Donalds is down by 9. Ashley Moody, down by 4. Yeah. Not 25, not 35, not 50 points, by 9 and 4 points, respectively. Now, compare that to, let's go back to 2020. Back in 2020 in Palm Beach County, Trump lost it by 13. Yet he won statewide by 3.5 points. So according to this poll, both Republicans, especially Moody, they are outrunning Trump in Palm Beach compared to 2020 by like 4 to like 8 points or whatever. Which would mean if you apply the same swing statewide, both would win by like 7 to like 10 points or whatever. The point is, you compare this to 2020, yeah, this is actually a Republican swing. So you could argue 2020 was the floor for Republicans in Florida. Yet they're still outrunning Trump in Palm Beach. But by some miracle, this is somehow DEFCON 1 for Democrats. even if you ignore who it's from, guys, this is still better than Trump's showing in Florida in 2020. Republicans would still win both the governorship and the Senate race by big margins, by borderline safe margins. I'm just baffled why they're saying that this poll is a horrendous showing for Republicans compared to 2024, I guess. But even in 2024, when Trump won statewide by 13 points, he still lost Palm Beach by a point. So for the Senate race, it's like a 3-point underperformance. For the governorship, like an 8-point underperformance. That's it. That's all they're complaining about. A 3 to 8-point shift in Palm Beach. Really? And you would argue, if we see this historical collapse for Republicans everywhere, you would be seeing a huge collapse in a place like Palm Beach, like Miami-Dade. You would expect a 20-point shift or something crazy like that in these areas. So even then, I'm just confused, like, what? Is it great for Republicans to potentially underperform Trump in Palm Beach? No, I'm not saying it's good or whatever, but at the same time, you don't have to win Palm Beach to win Florida. Hell, you could still lose it by 15 points and still win statewide. That's why I'm confused. Like, what are they complaining about? What's the big stink here? What is the big deal about this one poll showing Donalds and Moody? Yeah, they're underperforming, but not by historical margins. All this might indicate, if you believe this poll completely, is okay, the Senate race is better than 2020, but slightly worse than 2024. And same thing for the governorship. Worse than 2024, but still better than 2020. Like, I don't get what the doomsday scenario is here. I'm confused. Like, what are you talking about? And even then, both Democrats, they're below 50%. They're not at like 55% or whatever, and there's no undecideds. There are a lot of undecideds in this poll, and neither of them are above 50. So, what's the big deal? Okay, there's a slight underperformance in Palm Beach. Wow. That means Florida's flipping? Are you serious? Even DeSantis back in 22, he barely won Palm Beach. He won statewide by 19, and he barely won it. He won it by just under 3 points. That's it. Palm Beach is not this Republican stronghold. It is becoming more of a competitive area, sure, but it still leans to the left. I don't get what the big deal is here. Okay, it's worse than 2024. That does not mean a blue wave is building. But the weird thing about this is this comes from St. Pete. Like I said, they're an awful pollster. Don't take my word for it. This is what Richard Baris said back in August of 24, not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, a year and a half ago. He said, let's take a look at recent St. Pete polls, shall we? 2018, Gillum +4, Nelson +4. Both of them lost. 2020, Biden +1, he lost. 2022, DeSantis +9, Rubio +20. They both won by nearly 20 points. Yeah. Baris himself said St. Pete is a garbage pollster, and he was quoting a poll that claimed Luna was going to lose by 4 points. She won by 10 points or whatever. So St. Pete is a garbage pollster. Both of them know this, yet they're pushing this hysteria that St. Pete has proven a blue tsunami is building because Palm Beach? Really? I can't believe this. This is insane. This is insane that both of them are suggesting that now Florida is on the table for Dems. This is insane. This is delusional. This is hysterical. I can't believe just a year ago, both of them were very respected, had very good takes. They were not perfect, of course, but most of the time, their takes were correct. But now, they've gone off the rails completely. Seriously, it's going to flip Democrat because St. Pete said so? Really? That's your evidence? both of them are full of shit. I just don't get what happened here. How do you go from having some of the best takes out there to this insanity right here? I don't get it. I don't think anyone does either. But to put into perspective how insane this Florida stuff really is, because I don't think they really comprehend or understand how delusional this take would really be. Let's go to their current map right now. Again, this is a prediction Barnes put out a week ago. Look it up. He said, right now, Democrats are at 53 in the Senate. Not in the best case scenario. It's the current map. And he said, if John Cornyn wins his primary, it's 54 for Democrats. Lindsey Graham wins his primary, 55. All right, so already, you can tell this is crazy. You're talking about what? Like 9 states flipping Democrat or whatever. It is insane. But now, I guess Florida is going to flip now. And if Florida flips, you have to talk about states like Montana, like Kansas, like Louisiana, Mississippi. Do people not understand how crazy this is? I don't think they really understand how delusional of a take this really is. Even if there's a blue tsunami building, and yes, Republicans, they get crushed in Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and they lose a more Republican state like Ohio and maybe, I don't know, Alaska or whatever. If it goes even further than that and they start winning states like Florida, Texas, South Carolina, do you realize you're talking about other states also potentially flipping? That's the issue with this. At this point, it doesn't stop. It just gets more and more Democrat. Every state's flipping because reasons. That's the issue. Not that they're saying a Democrat wave is building, but how big of a wave they're already saying it's going to happen. They're already saying, yeah, Iowa's a foregone conclusion. New Hampshire, Michigan, all these states are foregone conclusions. And it's just going to get worse from here. So they're implying it could seriously get to this point where states like Louisiana and Kansas flip. I'm not saying that's their official take right now, but honestly, at this rate, they may start saying states like Kansas might flip. I'm not even joking. At this rate they're going, who knows? At this point, every state's flipping Democrat because who knows? I'm just stunned at all of this. Now we're talking about freaking Florida. We're talking about South Carolina. Are you insane? Just a day ago, Qantas Insights, a very good pollster, released a poll out of North Carolina, which on paper, outside of like Georgia, should be the worst state for the GOP in, because Roy Cooper is a very strong candidate. Michael Whatley so far has been running kind of a bad campaign or whatever. Even right now, according to Qantas Insights, a good pollster, Roy Cooper is not only below 50, this race is within 5 points. Yeah, Michael Whatley probably loses, sure. But guys, if North Carolina is still within like 5 points or 3 points, which this should be one of the more Democrat victory, one of the more bigger Democrat victories in the swing states, if they're having issues cracking like a 3-point victory here, do you really think South Carolina is going to flip, or Ohio, or even Texas or Nebraska? Roy Cooper should be up by 15 points if this historical blue wave was really building. Could he still win by 15? Sure, I guess that's a possibility. But at the same time, Robert Barnes, a couple days ago, he cited a garbage pollster that claimed Michael Whatley's down by 8, or not by 8, by 18. Roy Cooper's at 50 on the dot. And that's proof that the state legislature in North Carolina is flipping. Which at that point, yeah, you're talking with states like Louisiana, South Carolina, Nebraska, Kansas flipping. That's what they're saying now. It is insane. And I got to keep talking about this stuff because they're lying to people. They're misleading people into believing it's all over. It's all blue tsunami. Every state's going Democrat. Every Republican seat's going Democrat. It's all over. They're going to 2/3 in both chambers. All this other crap. We're going to see what happens, but this is crazy. don't care what you think about 2026. This is the definition of delusional. A perfect example of just pure hysteria. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.